interesting question. Do you know what percentage of Radio 3 users are still using programmed or curated services like the podcasts and the radio streams compared with the ones who are taking a more active role in making their own playlists?
I don't have an exact breakdown of it. I mean, I know we have over 150,000 playlists that have been created on the website. So it's not a tiny number. What I don't know is how many people use the playlist day in, day out. We're actually trying to figure out better ways of measuring that. It's interesting. The other piece you were saying around how you support projects like this, a lot of it is through figuring out ways to measure the value of it, because in traditional media terms, it's ratings. It's BBM or PPM ratings, and those things don't exist on the web. So the more you can figure out, I don't know, I try to think of it in terms of like engagement metrics or loyalty metrics or something like that, so you can show that you matter. But it's tough because standards like that don't exist across the industry, and each site ends up having its own different needs or different ways of showing it. So for us, the number of playlists created or the number of artists that are uploading or songs that are uploading, obviously the number of people that come and the time they spend are good on that. But my hunch is still that the majority of it is listening to streaming and podcasts, but the playlist piece is growing.
Well, I know at least in the news industry, there's a growing shift from counting the number of page views to looking at the bounce rate and looking at the number of uniques and trying to measure those loyalty metrics. I think that's where someone would like to know about region locks. Like people in the United States, are they able to listen to CBC Radio 3 online?
Yeah, we're available everywhere. And I think China blocked us for a while. We're not sure why, but there's no geofencing on Radio 3. Again, we're in a very lucky area where the musicians that upload to the website control all their own rights. I think as soon as you get into things with a lot of major labels, just the way the business is structured and the way that the history of rights has evolved is that they are geographic-based rights, and so a lot of other services do have to geofence, which is why things like Pandora or Spotify or those sorts of things aren't up here yet. I hope we figure out the rights piece, because right now we're in kind of something like Radio 3 is in a very sweet spot where we actually have artists who are able to do all this sort of thing, but for the good of more music lovers and to have more music celebrated, I hope we figure out a way to make it broadly accessible like that.
This is questions from a guy with the hashtag Masala Puri. He wants to know where and how you do your research about what people want to see in their music and how they consume it. Is it just your friends and family?
No, you know what? This is part of the stuff that's built into the website. Like we could do a better job at it. Like I would love to have somebody full time doing this. We don't have the resources to do it, but it's looking at how people are using the site and whether it's the things that they're talking about in the comments during the radio shows, whether it's tracks that are added to playlists, or which artists are being searched for most often, or which artist searches are coming in from outside the site that are coming into our site most often. We can tell what the most popular things are, and we can also tell things that are bubbling up that we don't know about on the site for it. The ultimate hope, and we actually have some really smart guys working on this, but is to do a better analysis of what of the data that's on the site, to say, and it's kind of neat. I'm going to nerd out for just 2 seconds on this, but it kind of at the basis of an early recommendation engine that's in the works is something where it looks at the playlists that everybody have created, and if you were to take a song and you wanted to say, well, show me things that are similar to this, it looks at all the playlists that people have added that song to it and which songs are added close to that in common, and then we'll look at it from how many people have thumbs upped it, how many people have shared it or become a fan of the artist, how many plays the songs have got, and give each song a quality rating, and then give you back a list of songs, kind of prioritized as saying, well, if you like this, you might like this also, like the Amazon book rating stuff. So I don't know when that's going to be ready. Right now it's taking down all our database servers whenever we run the query. So but that's kind of where we're going, is again, the more that user behavior can drive better recommendations for people, we'll learn a ton about that as well.
Mm-hmm. I actually had a question myself, with experience both with the creative people and the tech people. Lessons you've learned about navigating the relationship between creative people who sort of have this ideal vision of what they want to see, and the tech people who are actually building the programs and seeing what's technically possible.
It's interesting. I think our web development team are all giant music fans. So some of the best ideas, the neat thing that's unique about Radio 3 in the CBC space as well, and I think in most media spaces, is that we have a dedicated web development team. It's small. It's 3.5 people, but they're embedded into our team. It's not an external department that builds the stuff for us, and so you get this amazing cross-pollination of ideas where some of our radio hosts or radio producers might have a great idea for the website. Some of the web team might have a great idea for a radio show, but everybody lives and breathes that idea about celebrating Canadian music. And to me, it's one team figuring it all out, and you get some of the best ideas come from the I guess what you might traditionally think are the least likely people.
Mm-hmm. In the spirit of Media Democracy Day, I think I should ask this question. Someone thinks it seems like the CBC has been able to deliver more to Canadians because it's public. What about the corporate media? That's what we in the industry call an open-ended question.
Well, yeah, it's funny. Like, I think if you look at what we're doing, we have a justification for being able to say why we're doing it, because we're owned by the public, and because it's part of our mandate to do that. But if you look at what we've done, the results are pretty amazing. Like, if you look at the broader CBC radio as an example, there's like 1.2 million podcasts of radio shows downloaded every single week. And if I were in private media, I would look at that and say, well, gee, that's actually a pretty terrific opportunity for private media to do that too. And I don't know why there isn't more of that being done. But it's taking that leap and actually trying it and doing it. And I think, for me, if I was in private media saying, well, you know what, I'm going to wait until somebody else figures out how to do this space, or somebody else figures out how to monetize it or make a business for it, I think they're in danger of becoming, the Kodak that gets usurped by Flickr, because somebody else is going to come along and figure out how to do that. It's not really an if question, it's a when question of when all that stuff does transition and when people do figure out how to make a great business out of it. And if you're not in there trying to experiment and figure it out yourself, you're probably going to get left behind on it. It's a real honor to be here, and thanks for all the great questions too.
Yeah. There are a lot of interesting people in this room, so go meet a few new people.
Huge round of applause for Steve Pratt and Karen Taylor.
Happy Media Democracy Day! Woo!
Okay, so I am the last talking head of the night. I'm Hannah. I'm one of the Fresh Media organizers. Wow, those are bright lights. So I just wanted to say an awesome thank you. Wow, these lights are red. To Steve and Karen and all of you guys for showing up on a rainy Saturday night and celebrating media democracy, fresh media with us. And I think a big, big thank you has to go out to Steve Anderson, Lindsay Pinto, the two unsung coordinating heroes of the night are Sophie and Claudia. They did an awesome job. All the Fresh Media volunteers. Big round of applause. And they really put a lot of effort into this. This is a passion project. We're all volunteers. But we're so gratified that the community is supportive and as enthused about media democracy and fresh media. And we hope to keep having these awesome remixology events. Of course, again, a huge thank you to W2, Erwin, Leanne, Chris, everyone here, always amazing. And let's see. We have a ton of media sponsors, so these are all awesome media people. In addition to CBC Radio 3, we had CITR, OCW, The Straight, The Tyee, Vancouver Observer, of course, Open File. Vancouver is awesome, Rabble, The Tyee, and so many more. We're all happy that you're friends, you're here, you're tweeting, you're blogging, you're Facebooking. We really appreciate the support. And of course, VCTA. And last but not least, I wanted to do a little thank you to our DJs tonight. The DJ who's been spinning some ambient tunes for us is at Acid Bird, otherwise known as DJ Sunny Bobart. And we have our band just setting up. We have an awesome local band, Rick Buckman Co. This ensemble, it's folky R&B. They'll be playing from their new album, their current album, which is called, I do not have an iPhone, which is called The Latest Evening, I think. Yes, the Latest Waking. And you can actually listen to their full album. It's at the front, at the registration desk, so if you're interested, definitely go by and have a look. And I think that's it, unless, Steve, there's anything else? Watch the archived footage online, tweet, and see you at the next Remixology. Thanks, everyone.